Circus of Monsters RC fans, we are back for stop number 2 in Sherwood, Oregon. We've seen the independent class, but now it's time to see who's driving what in the solid axle class. One of the returning favorites is going to be Marty Hansen driving Torch. We've got Bobby Landsberg representing Attack Motorsports in Terrifier. Up next, it's going to be Michael Thomas in the fan favorite Nemesis from Black Fox Racing. Then we've got from Attack Motorsports the all-new Wreck and Recover making its debut in a Stars and Stripes variant. And then Zen Tilly will be representing the new Vanquisher for Black Fox Racing. And then, last but not least, the all-new Dragon Slayer represented by Aiden Dahlman. We've got these solid axle monster trucks are all going to be competing to see who can get the best points in Circus of Monsters RC. Just like the independent class, these monster trucks are going to be competing in 4 competitions. We're going to be seeing who can be the fastest qualifier for those first 5 points of the event. Then we'll be moving on from qualifying into the skills competition. Each driver gets 1 trick in each truck to see who can put on the best trick and wow the judges with the highest score. We move on there to racing to see which of the trucks is going to be the absolute fastest in the brackets. And then we cap it off with Monster Truck Freestyle, where the drivers get 2 minutes to wow the judges and see who can get the highest score in 2 minutes and get the coveted high score overall points championship in today's event. All right, we start off with qualifying in the solid axle class. We have the very first truck roll up to the line. It's Marty Hansen and Torch, routinely showing up in the finals, very rarely in 3rd place or 4th place. One of the faster trucks on the fleet is the Sen Racing chassis, the Jegs Torch. Here we go. He's got a good hole shot. This is a good smooth track for Marty to run on. Big, wide turns, large lanes for this chassis. Here he comes a little bit tighter for that first jump, gets some really good air off the first jump for the first time, and then gets a little bit crooked, but makes it across the finish line and rolls after the finish line like a pro. We get the time for Torch coming in right here, 20.28. The first time for Torch. And we come in for the North Side Racing pass. This will be Marty's second pass. Clean first one, no penalties, no disqualifications. Nice clean first turn, good hole shot. Nice clean second turn. 1 full outside lap complete. Then he's got to do the tight turn into the jump. Nice little bit of air there, a little bit wiggly at the end, and then the big jump to finish. There we go, 17.25 for Torch, the fastest time so far, 17.25. Then we move on. We've got Jack Mitchell will be driving Wreck and Recover, Stars and Stripes. Here we go. We get to see what Jack can do in an LMT. Let's go. All right, he's got a good hole shot. Nice clean turn around the corner. Clips the jump a little bit, but that does only hurt his time and momentum as he can go upside down really easily. Runs a little wide over that jump, but he makes it, stays in bounds, does a little bit of truck clipping, but that only hurts his time on the first pass, which is a time of 16.97, the new fastest time of the event for the solid axle class. He lines up to do his south side pass. Let's see what he can do. All right, here we go with the hole shot. He comes out into the first corner, a little slow in the first corner, a little bit of a wall ride, a little risky as he can get stuck up there. Oh, comes in a little too tight, almost clips the turn cone, but still makes it over. A little more wall riding there as he comes around the last corner and nose picks it into the ground, 17.54, which means Jack currently has the fastest time in qualifying with a 16.97. Next up, Aiden Dahlman out of Attack Motorsports Dragon Slayer, the debut of this truck, and we get to see what it is capable of in the solid axle class. Can he beat 16.97? Good hole shot, good corner, a little bit of a ramp ride. There he takes out the turn cone. That is going to be a 3-second penalty as he takes it with him halfway across the track. Oh, and he goes upside down. The penalty didn't even matter. The truck ends up in a DNF. All right, south side pass now. Let's see what Aiden can do. Not able to complete a very successful first pass. Here he goes on his second one. Decent hole shot, a little bit of oversteer into the corner. Coming around that second corner, clean, clean, clean. Bicycles a bit, misses the jump, but it only hurts him as he lost a lot of momentum, loses his steering control, misses the second jump, but he gets across the finish line. And with penalties, he's at a 21-7-1, but gets a time in Dragon Slayer. All right, Michael Thomas, Nemesis, the highest points earner in the solid axle class out of Albany, Oregon. It's about to get really muddy out here, so let's see what Michael can do in Nemesis. Here he goes. Nice hole shot. Good, clean corner. A little bit of a ramp ride. These LMTs do seem to go a little bit left under acceleration. We're noticing here on this track. Goes for the first jump. A little bit of air there. Nice, tight corner on the turn cone. Didn't clip it. Clean time, 15.91. Blows the competition out of the park. By far and away the fastest time of the event so far in the solid axle class. That's why he's carrying that Circus of Monsters checkered flag. Let's go into pass number 2. There he goes. Takes off. Clean hole shot. A little bit of a ride. It's a little bit messy on this pass. Going wild on the outside. Here he goes for the first jump. Nice, perfect arc over the jump. And here he goes for the second one. A little bit crazy. 15.44 is the new fastest qualifying time in solid axle class. All right, the next up truck, it's going to be Terrifier, driven by Bobby Landsberg, representing Attack Motorsports in this truck, the LMT 1.0. This is the oldest chassis we compete with, has been around for all of our events, has been really competitive, super successful. This is Bobby's first time driving this truck, taking it easy, trying to get to know the track, trying to get to know the truck. This wheelbase is shorter, this truck is narrower, and he goes big for the air, but he's doing good. He's only got one more jump to do. Hopefully he won't hit a turn cone. He does not, and he gets a clean second pass. Nice jump over the air. 21.90 without penalties. A good clean pass as we get Bobby lined up here to do his other pass. Here we go. South side pass this time. Let's see what Terrifier can do. He's getting the tires lined up. Here he goes. Good hole shot. Nice clean around the corner. Good down the straightaway. Clean second corner. Little bit of a jump there. Coming around again. Doesn't hit the turn cone, which is good. Jumps over the first jump. He's got one more jump to do, and he takes out the turn cone. That is going to be a penalty as Bobby makes it over the jump, and his time is 24.4. Still to beat, 15.44 by Michael Thomas and Nemesis. As we finish out with the final solid axle truck, this is Vanquisher, driven by Zen Tilly, representing Black Fox Racing in the LMT 2.0. Here we go. His first qualifying pass in the Vanquisher. A little bit of a slow rollout as he goes wide. Nice fast down the straightaway. Nice fast down his second turn. He clips another truck. He just barely clips the turn cone. The truck goes completely upside down into a cartwheel. Wow. But he saves it and he gets the momentum back into a front somersault. And the time is 21.69. Very, very far away from the fastest time at 15.44. All right, Zen's lined up for pass number 2. Let's see if he can get a better time than 21.69 and keep the truck on all 4 tires. Here we go. He's all staged and set. Let's get the green light here for him to take off. There he goes. All right, good hole shot. A little bit of a delay on that corner there. Nice clean corner on the second pass. Here he comes around the corner again into his first jump. Nice clean, a little bit of a nose pick, but it comes around faster. Here we go. Whoa, almost taking out the team. 15.46, the second fastest qualifier by 0.02 of a second, which means your fastest qualifier going into racing is, with a 15.44, Michael Thomas in Nemesis. All right, we move on to the best trick competition. Each truck is going to have one attempt in the solid axle class to wow the judges to see who can get the highest score out of 10 across the judges, which are going to be all the drivers that are present. All right, Michael is going to go first. He is going to sight out the track and see which hit is going to be the most successful for him. It looks like he's backing up to that backflip ramp. Let's see what Michael can do. He's lined up, and he goes for a reverse backflip and gets a double. Wow, consecutive reverse backflip. Very cool, very skilled there. The score is a 7.55 for Michael Thomas in Nemesis. All right, coming up next, Bobby Landsberg in Terrifier. We saw him driving this truck for the first time in his qualifying pass. Now he's in his best trick pass. He's going to be experimenting with the traction, trying to see what's going to work here, trying to see where he wants to go. Does he want big air? Does he want a big trick? This is a new truck to him, so he's got all the room in the world to play around with this chassis and see what's going to work. It looks like he is going to try to go for some kind of move off of the backflip ramp. And there he goes, a backflip, and he does, almost saves it. A backflip which landed in a bicycle, and if he just let off the throttle a little earlier, it would have saved it. A 6.5 for Bobby Landsberg. All right, coming up next, Jack Mitchell driving Wreck and Recover. This is his first time driving this truck in competition. We get to see what it's going to do, and it just runs right into the wall. Wreck and Recover, living up to the name there, 3.33, complete run into the wall there. All right, here we go. Marty Hansen driving Torch. Marty's got some good tricks up his sleeve. There are some he's tried that have worked. There are some he's tried that haven't. The dirt here is very different, so we're going to see what Marty can do. There he goes. He gets his reverse popper wheelie right out of the gate. The back end sticks the landing perfectly, stands it straight up into a rocket ship. There he goes. 6.3 is the score for Torch. All right, here we go. Dragon Slayer doing the skills competition for the first time. Looks like Aiden Dahlman, usually kind of more of a technical guy, is going to go for big air with the Dragon Slayer, and he does! Tried to go for the transfer, just doesn't quite make it, and Dragon Slayer ends up upside down with a score of 6.8. All right, coming up next, it is Zen Tilly driving the Vanquisher. This is his first time competing in this LMT. A lot of first-timers in the solid axle class. It's definitely making for an interesting event here. Looks like Zen might be going for that transfer too. He's lining up here, trying to see what's going to work. There he goes. Big jump. He tries to go for the transfer and doesn't quite make it. Lands on the backflip ramp, and the truck goes upside down. The score is a 5.33. All right, your best trick winner with a score of 7.33 is Michael Thomas in Nemesis. All right, coming up next, the solid axle racing class. These trucks are going to be competing in a bracket of 6. There will be a fast loser as they advance into the semifinals and then into the finals. First up, it's Bobby Landsberg versus Michael Thomas, Nemesis versus Terrifier. Here we go. The two LMTs, 1.0 versus 2.0. A little bit of a slow start for Terrifier as Michael Thomas and Nemesis is literally lapping Terrifier here. Terrifier is going all over the track as Nemesis does a pass, does his first jump. He steps it up to do his second jump. There he goes. Your winner in round number 1, race number 1, is Nemesis, as Terrifier just manages to squash the finishing line as he crashes right into Nemesis. All right, 17.77, not the 15.44, but still the fastest race pass. All right, Wreck and Recover versus Torch, Jack Mitchell versus Marty Hansen. Here we go. They're going to get off to a good start for both of them. Good corners. Jack gets stuck, and he drives it over the wall, and it does not come off. Oh, man, that means Jack is going to finish with a DNF, and Marty is going to advance into round number 2 if he crosses the finish line. And there he goes. Torch with a front somersault manages to cross the finish line with a time of 19.62. as Torch advances into round number 2. All right, Vanquisher versus Dragon Slayer, the last race of round number 1. We get to see who's going to advance and win. Here we go. The 2 LMT. There we go. And Dragon Slayer goes upside down. Vanquisher spins out, but it doesn't matter because Dragon Slayer has gone upside down and will DNF. This means Vanquisher's got all the opportunity in the world to just finish the race. The track has some new obstacles there for them to face. As Zen comes around, goes a little bit slower. Anxiety's still getting to him. Even though Dragon Slayer is out, Zen is still crashing into things all over the track. Clearly not used to the controls on the LMT. It does not want to go into reverse like he's expecting. But there he goes. Vanquisher will advance into round number 2. All right, we move into the second bracket. Fast Loser Nemesis will be going up against, or Fast Loser Terrifier will be going up against Nemesis as a repeat of round number 1, race number 1. Here we go. Let's see if Bobby can do a little bit better. We got Michael already doing the same thing in the same spot. It's a repeat of race number 1 as Nemesis is about to overtake Terrifier again, but Nemesis goes upside down and Nemesis manages to save it as it comes across the finish line. Terrifier still has not finished the race and is just all over the place, but it doesn't matter because there's no fast loser into the final round as we watch as Bobby Landsberg tries to get Terrifier across the finish line, still has to do the second jump, and is still just kind of making his way around the track the first time Bobby's ever driven an LMT. And there he goes, right across the finish line. There we go. Your advancing to the finals is Michael Thomas in Nemesis. All right, now we move it on to advancements from round number 2. Or to round number 2, it is Vanquisher versus Torch. Let's see who's going to win. All right, Vanquisher the whole shot, but he takes out the turn cone. Oh, man, Vanquisher's all over the place, and it goes upside down in the racing lane. No, Torch is going to advance into the final round as Torch gets stuck. No, Torch gets stuck on the wall, but Torch gets out of it as Marty Hansen makes his way around the track to do his first jump. He makes his way around the track to do the second one. A little bit of a stop there as Marty Hansen will race in the final round of racing. All right, the third and fourth place race in the solid axle class. It is Vanquisher versus Terrifier. The fastest second round advancement and the fastest loser. Here we go. Vanquisher with a really good race as Terrifier takes out the turn cone and goes completely off the track. Oh man, Vanquisher wins the third and fourth place race as Terrifier is still got to go around the track and finish its racing pass. And it looks like Terrifier is done. All right, the final round. It is Torch versus Nemesis, Marty Hansen versus Michael Thomas. Here we go. Both with a really good hole shot. Little bit wild there from Torch. It's a little bit behind on Nemesis. There's a lot of ground for Torch to make up. As Michael does the first jump, Torch is going a little slow, and Michael crosses the finish line first, and Torch does a front somersault. All right, ladies and gentlemen, your racing winner in the solid axle class is Michael Thomas in Nemesis. All right, we move on from an exciting round of racing to solid axle freestyle. We start things with Bobby Landsberg and Terrifier. The track conditions are a lot wetter out there right now. There's a lot of mud. There's a lot of rain. We've added some obstacles. We've upped the steepness of the ramps. Bobby is going to transition from driving Igniter in freestyle to driving Terrifier. And we're going to see what Terrifier can do in these conditions. It is messy. It is muddy. There's a lot going on. Bobby looks to be going for big air to start his run. He's trying to get some tracks built in the dirt with the tires. Here he goes. Big air, and it just goes wild. A little bit of a whip there as the truck goes upside down, runs into the wall right there. as Bobby's trying to keep it on the ground. Now, remember, these drivers get points for how many obstacles they hit. They get points for how much time they fill. And they get wow and momentum scores. Bobby's going a little crazy all over the track, but getting some big air in Terrifier here. And goes upside down again, unable to save it, but he gets one more attempt at putting it back on its lid. And if it goes upside down one more time, it is done. So Terrifier going for some big air again, and it goes upside down. All right, 3 upside downs in a row. The scores coming in. That first big whip was really impressive, but unfortunately didn't hit all the obstacles, didn't get the backflip. The score is a 20 out of 40. All right, Marty Hansen coming up in Torch. Marty Hansen, one of the more competitive solid axles in our competition here, as he goes for some big air. Bit of a wild card usually on freestyles, but Marty is a really good driver. We're going to see what he can do here. Getting some good momentum, making use of those new obstacles. It is muddy, it is tacky. The trucks do not like it, but he gets some big air off of the ski jump over there. Here we go. Getting some big air off the racing lanes. A bit of a pogo, trying to just fill the time here, which is really important as Torch goes upside down. All right, Marty gets back on its tires. That's his first rollover. He has essentially 2 more rollovers he can get to, and a nice pogo into a slap wheelie. That was fantastic as he lines up for some big air, and he does a front somersault. That was awesome. The truck still is going. He's got some good momentum off the bat. As Marty goes upside down again. Oh, man. Torch goes upside down one more time. It is done. Let's see what Marty's going to do. He's got some more tricks up his sleeve. He's got to fill the time. That's his biggest obstacle there. Some big air from Torch as it runs into the wall there. A little bit of understeering. A little bit of a momentum loss there in the corner as it pogos again. A lot of forward momentum pogos here as he looks to be lining up to come around the corner and hit the racing lanes again, making sure he's hitting all the obstacles. He hasn't hit those new cardboard boxes, but I think people are afraid of that after seeing how detrimental they were in Independence. As Marty comes around, he looks like he's going to try that backflip ramp. No one has tried this in the competition, and that's probably why. There it goes, Torch upside down for the 3rd time. The scores coming in right now for Torch. Big air, good momentum, used most of the obstacles in the competition, a good amount of wow moments, that front somersault, the slap wheelie, the pogos, good action. The scores coming in right now for Torch is a 29. Your new leader is Marty Hansen in Torch. All right, coming up next, switching the lights to flashing white. Here we go. It is Aiden Dahlman in Dragon Slayer. Let's see what Dragon Slayer can do. Aiden Dahlman wants to go big here, and he just goes crazy off the bat. Gets stuck on the wall as Dragon Slayer starts digging a rut into the ground, but Aiden keeps going, persistent. The biggest air we've seen today. Even bigger off of the other side. Man, Dragon Slayer's just launching across the track right now. Huge momentum, good speed, even bigger air as it lands on the wall again. Those poor tires are really going through it here. Man, Aiden's just going. And he just barely managed to. He almost saved it there. All right, Dragon Slayer keeps going. Good momentum, good transfers, good combos. There he goes for some more. Still got a couple obstacles for Dragon Slayer to hit, including the backflips. And he crashes right into the cardboard. And he goes for a backflip. And it kind of corkscrews there. But Dragon Slayer goes upside down again. The score's coming in. Dragon Slayer's gone upside down 3 times, did not fill the clock, but nearly hit all of the obstacles. The biggest air we have seen in today's competition. Dragon Slayer went huge All right, the scores are coming in for Aiden Dahlman in the Dragon Slayer, and the score is a 26. Not completing enough time to beat the score from Marty Hansen in a 29. All right, coming up next, Zen Tilly driving the Vanquisher. This is the first time he's ever done a freestyle run in this truck. It should be interesting. We've seen the conditions really bite these trucks. And he goes with the cardboard, and it goes upside down. Man, that cardboard boxes do not like these trucks at all. All right, but Vanquisher's back on its tires as we keep going. Here we go. He's going to go back at it again. Oh, he clears him this time, and he goes over the backside of the racing lanes, trying to use as much of the obstacles as he can. It's a hard balance as the truck cartwheels all over the track. All right, it's a hard balance in these conditions. If you want to go big, you risk going upside down, but if you go too slow, you kill your momentum score, but you need to hit all the obstacles. Zen tries for a donut, and it just goes upside down. Not the way he wanted, but there he goes. It's back on its tires. Here we go. Back up and going. Let's see if it can stay on the tires, because it does only have that one rollover left. A lot of momentum loss if this truck does not fill the time, and it pogos and goes upside down completely. Oh man, Vanquisher, a lot of good highlights, a lot of good moments, fun rollovers. That cartwheel right across the track was wild right there. Man, some good moments coming out of Vanquisher here, trying for that donut. You just saw the traction. It just hiked on one side, and it just went upside down. All right, the score is a 26, tied with Dragon Slayer. There we go. All right, coming up next, Michael Thomas and Nemesis. Here we go. We get to see if Nemesis can be the score to beat. It's got racing. It's got best trick. Let's see what Nemesis can do. 29 is the score to beat for Marty Hansen as he jumps off of that new jump. Here he goes. He's going big. Oh, nice. Some wild air, but it broke the truck. There is no steering on Nemesis as Michael just goes berserk now. The truck has gone upside down twice. If it goes upside down now, he is over. Oh man, he just does not care. Slap wheelie into a save, but the truck is still going. No front steering. Michael is still trying to drive this truck with two tires that are facing away from each other, as he's trying to just use the throttle to control that truck with no assistance from anything else, and he manages to save it there. How did he do that? And he saves it there. And he's trying to line it up as he just made it. What? I can't even keep up with all the action is going on as he does a bicycle and it goes upside down and it just calls it right there. That was a wild 30 seconds for Nemesis as Michael tried to get that truck to do anything, and that was impressive. Driving a truck with no front steering at all, the saves, the action, the bicycles, the combinations. Man, that was in best trick. It might have won as well. All right, the scores are coming in for Nemesis, and the scores to beat is a 29 set by Torch. Nemesis gets a score of as we see the repeats. The score for Nemesis is at 27. All right, one truck left to go. It is Jack Mitchell in Wreck and Recover. Here he goes, starts this time. Remember, Jack was the freestyle winner in the independent class, so he's got a lot building on this to compete in the solid axle. He's the last truck to go. The score to beat at 29. Let's see if he can get the win. Nice over the cardboard boxes. Really, really using a figure of eight momentum on this track. It's really taken to his advantage. He's not going too crazy, not going all out. trying to make sure the truck stays on the ground for the entire 2 minutes. A good amount of momentum coming out of Jack Mitchell right now. This truck is really staying on the ground. He's keeping it planted, not going for the biggest air we've seen so far, not going for the wildest moves, but just keeping that truck on the ground. Ooh, is he lining up for the backflip? Nope, not quite yet. Changing his mind there as he tries to just keep the momentum big. A nice little poppin' wheelie there from Jack as the air comes in. He starts stepping up the momentum very gradually. There's more air, there's more speed. And here he goes. Pick the moment to do the backflip. And it doesn't quite come off the ground, but he does manage to keep it going as he sticks the landing. Smashes the backside of the cardboard boxes there. Oh, man, those boxes are a nuisance. And he backsides the racing ramps there. Wreck and Recover still coming around the track. Good downside on the backside of the racing pass as he keeps it going. And it goes upside down. But that was probably the longest it's been since the first rollover. The longest amount of time passed till the first rollover for Wreck and Recover as Jack just goes mental now. The truck goes upside down again, but he's still got one more pass to go as he just tries to complete the transfer, and there it is. It is upside down again. The score's coming in. Jack really stepped it up in the last half of this run to really take advantage of the time he managed to fill the clock. He tried to hit all the obstacles, did a pretty good job. The only obstacle he didn't hit was that other backflip ramp out there. Little bit of a dent on his scoring, but a lot of good action. The score is a 30, which means Wreck and Recover. Jack Mitchell is your freestyle winner. All right, join us again for Circus of Monsters. We go to Eugene, Oregon for the first time.